Women are bad drivers. Asian people are smart. Athletes are unintelligent. Blonde girls are dumb. People with Down syndrome can't live on their own. Geminis are two-faced. Europeans are rude. Latinas are crazy. Black people are athletic. Old people are slow. Americans are lazy. These are just a few of the many examples of a stereotype. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines stereotypes as a standardized mental picture that is held in common by members of a group and that represents an oversimplified opinion, prejudiced attitude, or uncritical judgment. To sum this up, stereotypes are known as generalizations about groups of people and can be based on anything from looks, culture, religion, occupation, and so on. We grew up hearing these stereotypes and knowing that they are hurtful, but doing nothing to undo the harm and damage they cause on our peers. It is mentioned in our textbook that new stereotypes are rarely created. Rather, they are recycled from subordinate groups that have assimilated into society and are reused to describe newly subordinate groups. These stereotypes are maintained because information that confirms our stereotypes is better remembered than information that disconfirms them. This shows how these generalizations about others are not newly formed ideas in the minds of America's youth, but are ideas that have been taught and passed down by older generations. These stereotypes become embedded in our minds whether we like it or not, whether we are aware of it or not. I conducted an online survey in which I had 18 participants. I posed the question, have you ever let stereotypes shape the way that you perceive others? Out of the 18 responses, only 2 people said that they do not. Participant 1 answered this question stating, I'm sure that I have let stereotypes dictate the way I think on some subconscious level, as stereotypes are incredibly common and it'd be very difficult to avoid being exposed to them. Participant 2 said, when I was younger, especially before becoming more independent and traveling around more. A lot was learned from my parents and family. Participant 3 answered, yes. Even though I'm not a huge fan of stereotypes, I would be lying to say that they haven't affected my subconscious brain. It usually takes me stepping back into a third-person perspective to realize what I'm doing is wrong and to correct my thinking. These responses added on to my point that we grow up surrounded by stereotypes, which become normal to us, and because this is considered the norm, most people don't think twice when hearing or using a stereotype. Stereotypes are typically hurtful, but some argue that positive stereotypes exist and can be used to make a certain individual feel better about themselves. But this is conflicting as even a positive stereotype still categorizes an individual into a group. So now the question is, how do we overcome this? I believe that in order to overcome stereotypes, we must hold ourselves accountable for being the reason they still exist. We must recognize when we are generalizing an individual instead of looking at the individual themselves. We must realize that while sometimes stereotypes can have no ill intentions, to categorize someone without knowing them can be hurtful. We must realize that our assumptions are not reality, and that if we truly believe that they are, we must change our assumptions.